director of the film that you just saw, Gilford, and also executive producer Zachary Drucker. So getting into things, one of my favorite things about National Anthem, I just want to start with kind of like a personal anecdote, was when I was watching it, I couldn't help but feel this kind of like programmed part of me as like someone sitting down and realizing kind of the structure of this narrative kind of follows more like a coming of age, coming out, kind of finding your people kind of structure. And when I watch films like that, I think a lot of us too, like as queer audiences, have kind of grown to get used to these certain types of cliches that you can see in films like that. And what I really noticed about your film is that it just doesn't have those cliches, in my opinion. And it could. Like, there were moments where I was like when he's doing the drag number, I was expecting that to be the moment when his mom walks in and be like, look at what these people have done to you. Like, there were these things that I was expecting to happen that just didn't. So I wanted to first ask, like, you know, when starting this, was that something that you had in mind, or was that something that kind of just happened organically?
Yeah, absolutely. It was an intention from the very beginning to make something that was joyful and celebratory. I really wanted to see that myself. I feel like these cliches, it's often very dark for queer films, and I personally wanted to make something that was more about queer love and finding our people. And I think that also there's just so much, it's so hard, especially right now, to be a queer person in the world. Queer and trans people every day, it's so scary. And I wanted to make something that was much more about the beauty of this community and celebrating that, so.
And obviously, especially these spaces here in the Southwest that are maybe not necessarily immediately thought of as queer spaces or something, like especially that kind of extra layer of outsiderness, perhaps. But yeah, for Zachary, for you, did you feel similarly? Was this something in the project that you were extremely proud of producing, or?
Just proud of Luke.
Okay.
And honestly, like, you know, I met Luke when he was 19 years old. It was a long time ago.
And I'm 21.
And, you know, I mean, as creators, we're always instilling ourselves and characters, and it's so beautiful to watch this protagonist and to see the ways in which your experience is expressed through these characters. I'm really just up here to double team the interview, and I want to know, where do you see yourself entering these characters, and can you speak to like your just personal journey and how it's represented in the film?
I did not know this was happening, so this is great. Okay, wow, cool. I for my first feature, I wanted to start from a very personal place. I mean, I think that that's the beauty of art, is creating empathy and sharing our stories and finding each other through that process. So it was a very personal process that started that way, and then as I, found collaborators, so found producers, found DP, actors, every single person brought their own experiences of love and heartbreak and finding their people. And so starting from a very personal place, then I was able to open up to become less a story about me, and then became kind of more of a story about all of us. And that was a really beautiful process, to find those things that we have in common more than the things that kind of tear us apart.
Awesome. I want to point out too that this is your first feature. This is your debut. You're a photographer normally, and this I believe started with like a photo series. There's a book, a collection of these photographs that kind of then maybe informed this film. Do you want to talk about kind of the transition of that kind of in a still to a moving image?
And if you love the movie, buy the book.
Oh yeah, that's a no-brainer.
We have a new edition coming out very soon. You can't currently buy it, actually, it's sold out. But we have a new edition coming in just a couple weeks. It did start as a photo series. My dad, who's here somewhere in the audience.
Along with Mom, 2 on, whole family's here.
But yeah, my dad was in the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, so I grew up coming to rodeos and loved Western culture so much, but also felt kind of, an outsider too. And so when I discovered this community in 2016, I started traveling all through the Southwest. It took about 4 years to compile over 100 photographs that became the book. And I just was so warmly welcomed by this community and really felt like Dylan in a lot of ways of kind of my mind being blown by finding this community and finding my people. And it really felt like there was just so much more story to be told. And it still can, there's just so much story that can be told in a face. I really do think faces tell stories, but it felt like there was more to share. So I started writing it down, and that became the script.
Well, great. I mean, you can definitely tell that you're a photographer in this film. Your aesthetic is very clear and very solid. I wanted to then bring up too these people that you did meet out in these spaces. I know, like, perhaps some of them are in the cast. You have like actors, you have non-actors. Kind of, what was that like to direct in that way with a wide array of people at different levels in their performing careers?
Well, it always was an intention to blend. I was so inspired by these people in the actual community and wanted to include them in the film, but also felt important to not make a documentary, to really make a scripted film. And so it was sort of, I knew that I wanted to cast these main characters, but then populate it with real folks. So all the people at the ranch, at the House of Splendor, and of course at the rodeos are all real people that are part of the book, but part of my, I lived on a queer ranch that was the inspiration for House of Splendor in Tennessee called Sassafras. And so yeah, some of those folks came out and are in the film, and so that was a real challenge though to Charlie Plummer, who I think is so phenomenal in this and has been, yes. It's such a beautiful and nuanced performance, and then there's other folks that have only done a few things here and there, been in TV, and then people who've been in nothing before. So that was a major challenge as a director, was to get everyone in the same film and to make the tone cohesive. So it's something I hope you all feel they're in the same movie.
Totally. I also want to point out now, this is that screen up behind us. If you want to go ahead and cast your vote for this film. Now, yes, don't forget the 1 through 5 and 5. I realized this film is titled National Anthem, and it is getting released in 3 weeks, so it's going to have a July 12th theatrical release. And we also have a huge election upcoming. Is that a coincidence? How do you feel putting this movie out in an election year in this country, in the city of Zach?
It's right on time. Thank you so much for bringing you. It's such a trip with the appropriating the American flag and the Constitution and the whole concept of patriotism. And so sometimes I look at the American flag and I'm like, I don't even know what this symbolizes anymore. But I feel like so many of us that America is, intrinsic to who we are. The notion of freedom is like a pervasive feeling of being an American, and to have a film that kind of rewrites the symbolism in a way that's completely fresh and really acknowledges the people who live in these states that are so kind of hostile towards them, yet they are still there. It's just the antidote that we need in an election year.
Yeah. This progress started in 2016 when Trump was elected, and to go out into these places and to see these people just living their lives and saying, no, this is my country too, and I will be whatever I want to be. It was so deeply inspiring, and I felt that needed to be shared and to sort of take back that power that's been taken away from us and say, no, this is my country too, and what is more celebratory and, who knows more about freedom and reclaiming that than queer people. So
Yeah, you can. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just a great example of like the land, the free, and I just think that that's just a great reminder that we still have a lot of freedoms to be able to do this. Should continue with that.
I think also just one thing I do want to point out too that is so intrinsic to the American identity is also to say, no, you can't put me in a box. And I'm not one thing, and I think we all contain multitudes, and that's something that I really wanted to sort of show and celebrate in this film, is that the sort of power of love to open Dylan up and to experiment with his identity and never say what he is one thing, but it's all of us, we're all on a journey, and we're all many things, so I want to celebrate that too.
Zachary, I'm sure if you have any more questions for otherwise, I know we need to cut this a little bit short. We might have time for an audience question, but maybe not. But I just want to thank everyone again for coming.
I just want to say that unfortunately there was a technical issue, so the color was totally off. I'm very sorry about that. We don't know what happened exactly with the projection, but it's out July 12th, so please see it for the full experience. And the theater near you. Tell your friends. Yeah. Thank you.
Check out that book too. I'm sure this book is
What's
perfect.
the book called? Yeah, what's the title of the book?
National Anthem is the title of the book as well.
Thank you all so much for being here.